Mike and Gage, the Screen Slashers. We are back with another video. Sorry again for the little hiatus. We're getting back in the, with everything. Got some stuff going on both our sides, and we're just, trying to find the best time to link up to do these videos. But, we're super happy to be back. And today we're still staying on the Saw train. It's very hard to get off. Like once you get on, it's very hard to get off. Like once you become a fan, you just are basically a fan for life, hopefully. And we're really talking into like a really like cool topic today. We're talking basically about the future of Saw. Now, Saw X really did blow everything just out of the water, everything out of proportion. I think everyone was shocked how commercially successful the movie was. It is. I just checked
too.
Exactly. I just checked a couple minutes ago before we went live for this, and literally it is still sitting at a solid 80%, which is crazy for a Saw movie. And thus far it's made 106 million off. I think its budget was 13 million. So it's performing, as expected. I think just no one expected it to do as well critically. And it's just an amazing thing to see. And the future of Saw, looks really bright now. We are going to touch upon a couple things today. First and foremost, there are deleted scenes that have been released. Some of them are out on YouTube, not all of them, but some of them have been released. And then if you do actually get either the digital or physical copy of Saw X, you will of course have those deleted scenes. And then the information, on this that we got, before even, because I don't have the digital copy yet. I don't know if you have the digital copy yet or the physical copy just yet. Yeah, it's on the to get list, but we got the information from two channels. I do want to shout them out real quickly. First and foremost, Horror Sauce, and secondly, the Late Night Massacre. They had all the information talking about the potential future of Saw X. There's just a couple things to cover, but we're gonna start with like the deleted scenes. Now, we actually were just looking at a couple of them, and they were pretty interesting. The main two that really kind of paint an idea of what's going on. So the first one is pretty straightforward. The one where Cecilia escapes. I hate to say it, like we all wanted to see her die, but she was just too good a villain, which is crazy to say because John Kramer is not the villain in Saw X, as crazy as that is. Like he is not the villain. But this is the most like challenged he ever was. And the fact that she survived, who knows what's going to happen. But that scene really just shows like she escapes the little, gets her head through the thing, escapes like that little trap at the end, which was, I mean, I wish it would have been a better trap for them. The end of Saw X, I think that was the only little tiny grip. I think she should have gotten something so brutal, like just at least give some permanent damage. But I mean, it is what it is. But
yeah, and I mean, like that's a good scene. I mean, it's a good scene, right? But like, and I think we all expected Cecilia to survive, or at least, it was the odds were the most likely that she would out of anybody else, and it's because she's such a good like counter opponent she's such a good opponent. I should just kind of say. For John Kramer, and I kind of like that she's going to survive, which means we'll probably see her in Saw 2.5, but we'll get there after the deleted scenes. But I totally expect for her to be in that movie as well, and that's good. That'll be fun to see because John Kramer has a real opponent for a change, and I also like that we're not going to get just a whole batch of brand new characters in the next movie that you kind of have to sometimes force yourself to care about in the Saw universe.
Exactly. Keep it simple. I mean, that's what they did this time, and it worked. Focus on who we want to focus on, and bring in I was not expecting her to be such a villain. Like I think that's what blew me away too. Is my gosh, she is absolutely crazy. Like compared to like some of the.
She's a bit of a bad guy, McBad for sure.
It definitely. So yeah, so that was one of the scenes. It was very simple. And the only other one I wanted to really touch upon, you guys can actually see the deleted scenes. They're starting to come out on YouTube. They're just extensions of some of the other scenes. Like the first one has John just kind of going through after the MRI or that he has done, just kind of going through, shows him doing a little more of the drawings of the rack and I believe the revolver trap. We were discussing this prior. The revolver trap, I believe, from Saw 2. I believe that's the one that he's constructing. So you see a little bit more of that before he's sitting, filling out his will when he runs into the other quote unquote like miracle survivor who gets his comeuppance in the post credit scene. But the other scene was actually a scene about Amanda and it really did add a little more like context to her. And we don't want to spoil too much of it, but basically it does go, she really does mention, what her relationship with John is, because I think that it's weirdly it's been questioned over the years. Does she have an infatuation with him? Is she see him as a father figure? What is it? And she basically just, outright says, my mentor. And that's really what it was. Like if you've watched the series like we have, that John basically was like a mentor to her after she survived her trap. And then you find out a little more about her, that she was not a druggie, prior to going to jail. And for those of you that have followed the series, that she went to jail on the false charge that she got from Detective Matthews. And she did it, the charge she got was not what she was actually doing to go to jail. And then in jail, she became a druggie. So it kind of comes full circle, kind of tells you a story that, kind of expands the story a little bit and kind of wraps it up so that you kind of get an idea of, who she is. And I think what we'll see when we talk about Saw 2.5 is we're going to see, what is going to lead her to change her, her whole attitude in Saw 3.
Yeah, like her big psychotic break in Saw 3. I look forward to them building more towards that, because you saw like a taste of that in Saw X. And like as far as like Amanda, like her story and with the deleted scene and how it ties into it, I mean, Amanda's story is a story that reminds me, this might be a bit of an odd comparison, but her story reminds me of someone like Eileen Wuornos, who just has a horrific story at every single turn. I mean, you get like, there's like this whole backstory that Darren Bousman and Shawnee Smith actually wrote that just kind of didn't get put in Saw 3, but they talk about how Amanda had like abusive parents and her father and this, that, and then she gets framed by the police and thrown in jail, and jail turns her, and she just has a really awful story that you almost can't understand how her story wouldn't end tragically, And so I think that scene really does a good job at encapsulating that. And you have, in a weird way, you have Eric Matthews, this really horrible cop that you learn about and learn to care about throughout the course of the early movies, but you learn what a horrible piece of shit he is too.
Exactly. So yeah, no, it really did come full circle. So yeah, so for the deleted scenes, a good amount of them are on YouTube, and then if you do get the digital copy or the physical media copy, they'll have them on there. So yeah, so I just thought that was interesting. Just wanted to mention it, just because obviously it it answers the question, did Cecilia survive? Because there were some people questioning it, but I mean the majority of us kind of knew, like, even though we really wanted to see her go down, if she goes down in the next movie, it's gonna be brutal, and that's what we want. She needs a brutal demise. Like that. That's all I can say. So yeah, so that'll let us pivot into the other part of the video today, the future of Saw. So Saw X, having performed as it has, again, these were rumors that the two channels we mentioned did go over in really good videos. Definitely go check them out. Talking about that Saw 11 is set to be a sequel to Saw X, which is what we thought. So that's why we're calling it Saw 2.5, because it'll still be before Saw 3, and it'll be it'll
After
be
two.
I believe they said it would be after 2. It just I'm not sure, like, if it would end up being, I mean, I don't know if it could be Saw 1.75. Like, I really don't know. I hope. I
Please
don't really
don't.
know
Don't
what
get
it's
in
going to
fractions
be.
with me.
When there's more, when there's more information, like we'll talk on it for sure. But they are talking about making a sequel, which makes sense. They need to continue with what's working, and don't shit the bed. Like, hopefully just don't let it actually play out and be good. So that'll be very interesting
Use
to see
Tobin
what they'll
Bell
do.
while you got him.
Yeah, that every time I hear them mention that, I don't want to think about it. But I mean, we have to be realistic too. But I mean, it's smart to make this movie and then Saw 12, which we'll touch upon next. They really do need to get moving on these, and I think that's their ultimate plan. Is that they see how successful it is when you make John Kramer front and center. You simplify the story. You would be surprised thinking that you didn't really want to know all this information, but it ends up being the best movie by a landslide in the series. I mean, it took 10 movies, as we've said before. It took 10 movies, and it's just it's crazy. So yeah, so the Saw 11, they're saying will be a sequel to Saw X. Not surprised by that at all. Be very interesting to see we know Amanda will be back. We know Hoffman will be back because of
He
the
has to be.
deleted scene. I hope that they would open it with just showing the rest of the what is it, the extra scene, because I don't
Yeah.
know if that is a deleted scene. I'm gonna do more research into that because I'm still researching them, but I don't know if I don't think they show anything beyond the post-credit scene, so you kind of get an idea of what his trap is, but you don't get to see it in full in full bloody action, so it'll be interesting. So yeah, so that's basically what Saw what'll happen for Saw 11. And then the one
And
I'm super excited for, oh yeah, go ahead, Gage.
I was gonna say, so we'll get to that one because I know that you got one you really want to touch on, but like
Yeah,
Saw 2.5 as it's gonna be dubbed. I mean, that's
yeah.
one that I think excites me just as much as Saw X will, and it's because again it'll build to Amanda's break in Saw 3. I thought that Saw 3 was the best movie of the entire franchise personally. So I mean, to see that it'll be kind of a direct build up will probably make it. I'm hoping will make it kind of even better in retrospect. I think that It Chapter 2, even though it wasn't better than It Chapter 1, I think it kind of made you appreciate It Chapter 1 more, if I could use that as some kind of odd
You
comparison.
are completely correct. That is it makes one look. I mean, part one was already great, but part two really. I'm not gonna. We might make a video on that in the future because we've all suffered through my gosh, how long was part two? Like 3 hours by itself,
Something like that.
almost something like that. Yeah.
And it had a director's cut, if I remember correctly. It's
Oh.
what the fuck? Oh, so all right, so yeah, Saw 2.5. I mean, that's going to be a lot of fun to see, and maybe they'll bring some throwback characters. Maybe you'll see some flashbacks to before Jeff gets caught or something. I know how
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
you love Jeff.
Ugh, honestly, like Saw X did me so well. You know what? You can bring Jeff back. I'm okay with it if they keep this same, the same flow and this same, the same style, and it's anything like Saw X. Then I'm on board. You can bring them all
Me
in for
too.
all I care. You can bring whoever in at that point. But yeah, so that'll be Saw 11. And then the one that got me like just absolutely like fired up
Yeah, boy.
because yes, 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 the Hoffinator. The rumor again is that Saw 12. So they're already talking about 11 and 12. And I mean, it's with the success Saw has had, you shouldn't be surprised at this point that they're looking at multiple sequels. The reason why 12 is just setting me through the roof in such a positive way is because the rumor is that it is going to finally be a sequel to Saw 3D, The Final Chapter. Now, I know that was like back in, what was it, 2010, and, slams the door on Hoffman, says game over. The Saw has gone into the hall.
It's perfect.
It's a good ending, don't get me wrong. But there is that part of me, and I know there's a ton of you out there that just want to know. We want the answer. Did Hoffman survive or not? Now,
He did not.
with Costas Mandalore, being back in Saw X, on the phone in the deleted scene, he was actually just in an interview as well, talking about, how he will come back for pretty much any movie, any Saw movie that they do. So he's always on board, always down to reprise Hoffman, and he's got a big fan base as well.
God bless him.
Yeah, yeah. And then he actually even said, he, I think, had mentioned to the producers he had thought of ways to escape the bathroom. And this has been mentioned by multiple channels. He spent a lot of time in that bathroom. He spent a lot of time with John Kramer. He spent a lot of time kind of analyzing, okay, maybe in his head, he may have even thought about it. If I'm ever put in this situation, do I have a way out? And honestly, I think like if this is the route they're going to go, they're gonna make a conclusion to 3D. If they were to show him dead in the first like 5 minutes, I think the majority of the fan base would be, you'd get kind of like a 50-50 split. Half of them would be like, okay, we already guessed that. And the other half would be like, this is bullshit. You're not going to continue with him when you have him. Like, so there's a lot of things that could happen. There's a lot of avenues that could happen. If they're able to bring back Carrie Elways, we could see Gordon versus Hoffman, which is something I think a lot of people want to see, because then at that point you really don't know, because you don't have a definitive, who would, in that, one-on-one, who would actually win that. I know Costas Mandalore said that he wanted that to go against Gordon and get him. So who knows? Like there's a lot of talk about it, but it's very exciting to think that they will do a sequel. A lot of people want that. 3D, unfortunately, just there were a lot of issues with it. There were a lot of things that were not great. I do agree with Gage, though. The ending was really, really good. I was happy with that. I just wish it was just not such a very, it was very odd. When we talked about our ranking, it was just odd how the
Tone felt
story,
off.
yeah, how the story was put together. It felt just so rushed. And that was just the thing. I wish there was more scenes with Gordon too. So that was just one of the big things too. So hopefully they will answer some things. Maybe they can get Gordon back and just one more time, just one more time. And they're saying that that's to conclude that arc or that story. Now it makes me wonder, with that, will that just wrap up everything? Will that just call it a day? Who knows? But I'm on board for as many of these as we'll make. But yeah, no, I fully believe if they really are making a sequel to 3D, Hoffman's alive somehow, and they're gonna come up with a way that diehard fans are gonna be like, okay, that's a little far fetched, but maybe he always had a plan. Maybe he always had a plan, and it took, I don't know, 14, 15 years to put it into fruition. So, we'll see. But either way, I just want my answer. That's really it, like, personally. So
would you be satisfied if you just saw like Hoffman's body next to Adam's body, like
yes.
in a flashback scene?
Yes. No, actually, as long as I have an answer to yes, he survived, no, he didn't, because that is the only thing that is just, if we, like, for example, the way they ended it, great, similar to the first one, just slamming the door and that's it. Then you kind of are led to believe what you want to believe. How the hell is he getting out of there? There's no way to cut your foot off. The only thing he could do is similar to what Eric Matthews did, but trying to remember, I don't think there was anything around that he could use to break his foot unless I missed it.
Eric Matthews broke that toilet lid whenever
True.
he did it, so he couldn't replicate that.
Exactly.
But also, I got to mention though that, like, yeah, when it comes to like, could Hoffman have survived and all this stuff, I would be content with them showing that he died, but I wouldn't be happy to see him like get out of the bathroom and then like, well, I always planned for this, and it just feels like a little bit too Gone Girl. Is that a good comparison here? I don't know.
No. With a plan, yeah, I could see that.
Sometimes it's okay to just kill somebody, it's okay to just not, or I guess I should say, when it comes to Saw, you don't have to show everybody dead. They show every single, what's the rule of Saw? What's the golden rule of Saw? If they haven't been shown dead and they haven't been seen dead, they're not dead. Well, with this one, I think you can kind of like take a little bit of liberties with Hoffman because it kind of is a perfect ending to wrap up Saws 4 through 7. I think that if he escapes that bathroom, CZ's World did a whole discussion about why he thinks Hoffman's dead, and he talks about like how in Jigsaw, how the cops, it's 10 years in the future, and they don't go looking for Hoffman at any point. He's never even mentioned as a suspect, likely because he's already dead. And then like if he like was in jail or something, you think that they would just like check just in case, but they just don't mention it, and I think it's because Hoffman's dead.
True.
No, but I mean, then again, if they showed like some kind of I called it Softman. If they did some kind of Saw Hoffman movie as kind of a quasi spinoff after they're done with the Tobin Bell stuff, I wouldn't hate that. You show a little bit of the background. You show Seth Baxter killing Hoffman's sister, and you show his descent into madness and his alcohol issues, and maybe you have that flashback from the scene of Saw 5 where he's hooked up to the shotgun chair with Jigsaw talking to him. That'd be interesting. I wouldn't hate that, but I would prefer right now, at least, and I think you'd probably agree, to keep the story Tobin Bell centric while we still got 100%,
the guy. 100%.
And, but in the future, like in maybe 5 to 10 years from now, I wouldn't mind seeing that movie at all. I'd be totally into it. And then, do you want to touch on Spiral 2, or do you want to go on to the next one?
As far as like Spiral 2, I mean, personally, I don't have too much. I think that was more your area on Spiral 2. I think in my head, I'm like, I just don't think it's something that's going to happen anytime soon, and it's only because of the success of Saw X. I think they're gonna keep going gun ho, like you said, because while we have Tobin Bell, we need to utilize him as much as possible. But I would not be surprised if down the line we get a Spiral 2. I actually want one. We've mentioned this before because that movie just ended, abruptly, and that's something that needs to be answered as well. So I'm all about the completion with these movies. I want my answers. Like, I want to know, especially because the way Spiral ended was just crazy. Like, literally, like, he just gets away, and he's just sitting, they just laying there, like, and his dad is gone. Like, it's just that was just, I was really shocked that one ended like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit of a Spiral truther, if you will.
Mhm.
I think that the movie could have been a lot better had they not cut
Mhm.
40 or 50 minutes of
Yeah.
fucking footage.
Yeah.
That bothers me. That really bothers me. They were trying to go for a commercial approach, and so they cut out some of the more gory aspects, and the MPAA got their fingers on it. It's just the movie didn't come out like it should have, but I think that as a film itself, I think if it was cut together better and there was a lot more stuff left in the movie, if they didn't trim so much of the fat off, so to speak, I thought it would have been a lot better.
I
And
agree.
I love the idea of having Spiral 2. I've heard they'll somewhat homage Saw 2 in the sense that you'll get to learn a lot more about is his name Max? I can't remember. William, the
Yeah,
kid.
I know it's just William Shemp something.
Shank, I think it
Shank
is.
Shemp. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
listen. I don't know. I know I mix
Yeah.
people's names up all the time,
Yeah,
brother. But
I think I don't remember because it just wasn't one of my top ones. But as a
yeah,
standalone, as something in the universe, is fine. It's still fine, and I still want a conclusion too to that.
yeah, and I mean, like, I thought it would have been cool if I mentioned this in our movie breakdowns. I won't go too far on it, so I don't repeat myself all that much. But I thought it'd be cool if they had him stuck in one area, but having him be part of the game, just like Jigsaw was stuck in one area, but part of the
Yeah.
game in Saw 2, where you get to sit down and you get to talk to him. And I do know for a fact that Darren Bousman said that should they do a Spiral 2, that's the general approach that they would take. So that'd be interesting to see. I'd really love to see how they go forward with that. And like, then do you go to Spiral 3? Maybe, maybe not. I really don't know, but I'd be very interested to see where they go from there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I'm gonna be frank. Anything they do Saw wise, they already got my money for the ticket to see it. Like, there's just no
True.
way around. There's no way around it. I'm like, both me and Gage, we're dedicated. We're in it. Like, that's just it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a freaking Jill origin story movie, and I probably still go
I'd
see it.
watch
You
it.
know what I mean? I'd still go see it. So yeah, no. So we're definitely on board for that.
Would you
But
watch an Adam origin movie?
anybody in the universe at this point. Hell, I even said, bring Jeff back. Yeah, I'd be game for it. If it means if it's literally going to answer my questions. And honestly, at this point, I mean, there's so many questions, but for me, the one that has just been a chip on my shoulder for these 13 plus years has just been, let me know if Hoffman survived or not. That is just something that it just, I love the series. I just want to know. Like Gage said, show me his dead body next to Adams. Maybe it's not the way I wanted to see it, but I'll accept it. And I can close the book on that. And I think a lot of fans are in that category. They just want, they want proof. They just want, it's just, we just want that, we just want that completion. We want to know that that's how he's done, because he was pretty crazy. So we just want to know, okay, he ended like that, and then we can move forward from it. So
Yeah, and I mean it'll be fun to see where they go from here. I mean, like Casas Mandalore, like we already talked about, is just kind of down to do whatever as far as Saw
yeah,
goes. I love his
yeah,
attitude, and I've heard he's like the
same.
nicest human being
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
That's
It
another thing.
figures the meanest ones in the movies are always the nicest ones in person. So makes
Hundred
sense. But
percent, hundred
yeah,
percent. And I mean, it's just I love all these ideas. I love Softman. I love Spiral 2. I love Saw 2.5. I just there and then what is it? Saw 12, which will be like a
yeah,
sequel. This will be Saw 7.5 if you want to be
yeah,
technical.
basically,
There's
yeah.
just gonna be so much.
Or
What?
Saw 8, the real Saw 8, I guess. I don't
No,
know.
I think
Like,
you
it's like,
gotta call it 7.5. I don't think you have a
yeah.
choice.
True, true,
because that
yeah.
would screw up the numbers for Saw X, and I don't feel like getting
Yeah,
into a
true, true, true. Yeah, so
so
it'll be interesting. But yeah, no, but that's just the video for today, just talking about the future, talking about the deleted scenes, just a little bit of like updates of everything, just our opinions on it. So hopefully you guys did enjoy. We appreciate you guys. We're coming back with more content. We're recording more stuff. Little more Saw related stuff, and then we are deciding which which series we're to look into next. I'm gonna be honest, we were talking about it before we recorded. I think with all the craziness that's been going on with Scream 7, I think we kind of have to dive into Scream. So, and Gage has a very interesting take on his favorite movie of the series that, I mean, I'm not gonna give it away, but blows my mind. So those of you that know the series know that there's only really one movie in it that really is just usually the one that most people don't like. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, thank you guys all as always for all the continued support. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe. Like I said, we're still putting together like the Instagram and I think eventually like the Twitter X or whatever the hell it calls
call it
itself.
Twitter.
So
Don't give Elon Musk
yeah.
any power.
Yeah, exactly. I think the only thing I'm cool with X is because of Saw X. So I'm just like, all right, yeah, we'll roll with it for now. So, but yeah, we'll have those down in the description. And yeah, anything you guys want to see as well, feel free to leave it in the comments. But that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you guys in the next one. And as we always say, game over.
Game over. There it is.